Hey there and welcome. I'm Roben-Marie Smith, and in this video I wanted to walk you through all of my 100-day project pieces so far, days 1 through 10. And then what I'm going to do in the second half of the video is I'm going to show you how I'm going to take one of those pieces and then use it in another project. In this one I'm going to use it to create a journal page. So I hope you'll enjoy this and let me know if you have any questions at all. All right, let's go. Hey there and welcome. In this video, I want to walk you through the first 10 days of the 100-day project and share with you and answer some questions that I've received about the pieces that I've created. Now, most of my pieces have been done on a variety of different papers. This was actually from a book. I've got some regular copy paper. This is from a book. You can see here where I've got some text and actually had to tape the back. This is construction paper, so there's a variety of different papers. So let's take a look as we go, and you'll kind of see a consistent theme here between my colors and my theme is that I'm just creating a bunch of different papers using tea bags, incorporating the tea bags into the art. And let me explain, because I did get a lot of questions about this. Basically, I'm taking a dry and clean tea bag and I'm incorporating it into the collage. And I have varying sizes of tea bags, so they're all different. But that's how I'm doing it. And so for this one, this tea bag was actually very light. And so the tea bag is right here. You can see it's the full shape of the tea bag, but it's a little bit hard to see, but I like that it's still light. I get these wrinkles in here. I've used coffee, pastels, watercolor, pencils on this one as well. And again, this was just from a book. So that was day 1. Day 2 was done on a piece of paper that I actually eco-dyed. And throughout the process, some of the paper actually got torn and wrinkled, and I love it. Tea bag here is this little bit here, and then of course there's a piece up here. And on this one, I also used watercolor. I used pastels. I used charcoal pencil. There's even some coffee rings here from the coffee cup, or the actual cup holder that the coffee is in. And then I used some white gesso as well to add some other bits to it. So this was day 2. This was definitely one of my favorites. And I'm not sure what I'll end up doing with this one. Maybe I'll cut it. Maybe I'll use bits of this in something else. So that's day 2. Day 3, a little bit darker. And this one is from a book. Actually, this is from Flow magazine. And I tore it as I was working on it, so I put some supportive tape on here, some shipping tape, just to give it a little extra support. And I did, with this one, these are square type tea bags. So there's one here, and there's one here. It's actually a tea bag that was square, and then I opened it up so that I could fit it onto the page. I'm looking to see if I have one. Yeah, here's half of one. And then what I did was I just opened the tea bag up, and then I ended up with the 2 pieces. I put some ledger paper on the bottom of this one. There's coffee stain. You can see the rings on this one. There's black acrylic paint, watercolor, pastels, white gesso. It's very stiff. This is a thick one. I have quite a few layers on here for this one, and this was day 3. So day 3. Now day 4 is one of my favorites. I absolutely love this one. And this was a piece of my under paper, and this is just the paper that I put down on my work surface as I'm working. Love this, and I cut a piece of it off and decided to work this one into day 4. So there's different watercolor, coffee, there's pastels, there's acrylic, there's more watercolor up here. There's the tea bag. You can see this one really well. There's a piece of ledger paper underneath here that I added, more coffee, and quite a few different layers on this one. I also used deli paper that has some white or some black paint on it. And I used a bit of that up here, and then I used a piece right in here. And it's really cool because it's translucent, so you can actually still see some stuff that's peeking out underneath it. So I definitely say day 4 is one of my favorites. All right, this is day 5. This was also done on a book page. I just cut it out and layered on gesso And then I did a little bit of painting and then added the tea bag. Again, this is one of the tea bags that's large. And so it fit perfectly on here. And then I added some coffee, more pastels, and some acrylics. So this one was a pretty simple one. Day 5. All right, this one is day 6. This one is also from one of my eco-dyed papers. And it kind of got wrinkly as it got wet and then dried. And this one I added a little bit of some different colors, some greens and some blues, and kind of went a different route with this one. There's quite a few tea bags on this one. I got a piece up here, there's a piece right in here, and then I have one underneath here. And then also some layered deli paper. And this one is a tea bag that actually has the string still on it. And I did leave the strings on quite a few of these. I really like the way that they looked. So, all right, that's day 6. And then this is day 7. This is also a page from Flow magazine. And you can see the messiness on the back. This one, I just added gesso to it and I just layered. And there's 2 tea bags right here, and then there's a tea bag piece right up here and a little bit right there. So coffee, pastels, watercolor, basically the same art supplies. And then there's still some of the page peeking out from underneath it. So I like how that one turned out too. Day 8, this one's another favorite too. Lots of brown on this one with just the hints of the pink from the watercolor and pastels. A lot of coffee. Here's the tea bag here. And then this was one that was also large and I left the string on it. And this was a tea bag that had actually been stained more, so it definitely looks darker. And then this one was a piece of newsprint actually that I layered on. So that was day 8. This is day 9, and this one is from construction paper. And I like this area here. It kind of reminds me of a fire. I don't know, that just sort of kind of popped out. And I got the tea bags here and then tea bag here. And I really like how the tea bags, the coloring is showing through the tea bags on this one. And I just love the variety of colors on this one too. This is another favorite, and this was day 9. And then this one's day 10, and this was from an eco-dyed paper. You can see some of the flowers here. This is from a hydrangea. You can see how and I cut that one in half. And I love this one because I remember when I worked on this one, what was this, day 10? I was kind of working on it. You know, you can see the coffee, watercolor and all. And then this was part of the flower that was from the paper, from the dye, the eco dyeing, and you can see a little bit of the images in here. And then this kind of just, I drew in this a little bit. The coffee kind of went in, and it's like, you can still see the flower, and it kind of enhanced it a little bit. So I love that. And that was day 10. So those are the first 10 days of the 100-day project. And I hope that you enjoyed taking a peek at those. And if you have any questions, just reach out and let me know. Hey there, I am back. What I want to do in this part of the video is give you some insight into what I will be doing with these papers and kind of how I plan to use them. So what I'm going to do first is I've gotten out this is my Salvaged Journal. It's made from a dictionary. It's kind of big. There's a lot of pages in here. This is a course that I offer called Salvaged Journal. And I'm going to use the journal that I started in that class. I've been working in it consistently. And I'm going to just do a journal page. And I've chosen a few of my 100-day project collages. I have no idea what I'm going to do or which one I'm going to use, but I chose 4 that I really liked. And I am going to start out with this page in my journal. I've put some clear gesso on here just to give me the foundation that I want to kind of get started. And what I'm going to do first is just take a pencil to it and just add some scribbles and some marks and just kind of get started. Having these papers ready in my Salvage Journal makes it super easy to start working. I don't have to worry about creating something. It's already got a base. It's already ready, which makes it super fun. And I'm going to take some colored pencil and I'm just going to add some marks to it. I'm going to dip this one in some water and activate this one a little bit. Same here. And then I'm going to go in with some pastels, and I'm also going to use watercolor. And then I will start taking a look and deciding what I want to do with the papers that I've already created. I don't know if I'm going to add tea bags into it or not. I might. I'm just going to kind of follow and see what I want to do. And the gesso does work well over the top of, or the watercolor do, they look beautiful over the top of the gesso. And so my paper will react accordingly depending on, this paper's a little different. I got 3 different papers here in this journal. And then I'm also going to use some soft pastels that I have. This is black. And I love activating these with water. I don't generally use, in fact, I don't use pastels in the traditional way, where you just use them. I actually really like working with them with water. So I'm gonna take, this one's my favorite. This is Diane Townsend. These are soft pastels, and this black one here is Sennelier. This is the jumbo one, because I'm going to run out of this one really fast because I use a lot of black. So I decided to go ahead and get one that was really big. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and add in some more, and you can see how lovely the colors look and how they blend. You can actually tap into or touch into the water in the wet areas with your pastel. And you can also even pull color from the pastel if you choose to do that. You can flick right from the pastel with your brush if you want to try that. Just experiment and have fun with it. I'm going to go ahead, since I used coffee in my 100-day project, I'm going to go ahead and do the same here and just add a little bit of coffee. This is an espresso. It's a very, very fine espresso. And I'm going to use a spray bottle just to add a little bit of water to it. This is a charcoal pencil. I'm just going to go in here and add a few more marks. And I can also activate that with water. I'm also going to put some gesso here in this little bowl next to me while I work. I like to have a little bit of gesso here. I discovered just putting it in a little bowl made it really easy to use as opposed to working on a palette. So I actually really like having it where I can just grab what I want and use it. I'm just going to dab a little bit of this gesso into the wet areas. And I think I want to add a little bit to cover up some of this. I'm still not sure what I'm going to do with the collage papers that I made for my 100-day project. I'm just really just kind of getting this base down here, and then I can kind of decide what I want to do. All right, I took a heat tool to this just to dry it, and you can see it dries so beautifully. And when the colors mix together, you got a little bit of that white in there. Just really, really looks pretty. So now I'm going to go ahead and grab a few, just have some scraps and some tea bags that I have sitting here, as well as my 100-day pieces, so I can try to decide what I want to do and which ones I want to use. So this one kind of caught my eye. I really like this bit of pink here. I love this little spot here. I'm still not sure I'm going to use that, but so I'm just going to take a little bit of time to consider, and this little area right here might be perfect. In fact, it might be really perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and tear this. Yes, I'm tearing one of my pieces. I'm not attached to them. They're not precious to me. I really like that right there. That's a good possibility. And I don't worry about covering things up because I'm not, in fact, maybe this is the way I want to put it, going this direction. I don't know. And I'm thinking maybe I'll tear that. Maybe I'll add another piece of scrap. So I do have several bits for my stash. And then I can just decide what I want to put down. Kind of like that more layered look here than just having this straight paper. And then I can even use this to carry on that pattern. I can use it in another place on the page, like maybe down here. I'm using a glue stick right now just because I want to make this easy, and everything is dry, so it should work fine. And then I've got some deli paper here that has some paint on it. Some white. These are great for adding a little bit of layering where you can kind of see it peeking through, but it's still a little mysterious. I'm going to go ahead and add this to the side. All right, still undecided about that, but I have my tea bags here, so I might even add a tea bag into this as well. It's kind of like doing a whole new 100-day project. Only I'm doing it with parts of another 100-day project, right? All right, and then here's a half a tea bag. Maybe I'll use that one instead. I don't know, maybe. And I have some other papers from my stash here as well that I might consider using. I like to keep, some of these are all bits that I've started. Under papers, starter papers I like to call them, because then I can just pull out bits. Like this little piece here, these all came from the same paper that I made with the graph paper. And so they make perfect bits that I can pull out and use later. Let's see, there's another piece. So I think I'm going to use this one for sure. I like the way that looks. Let's see where we can put that one. Maybe up here. I'm going to set these aside. I might use those, not sure. We'll see, I like this a little better now that it doesn't go all the way across. I'm still undecided though. Yeah, I think I'm going to trim this. Maybe I'll still use a bit of it, but I think I just wanted it a little bit smaller. Yeah, I like that a little bit better. So I'll change my mind. This is day 2 of the 100-day project that I am now cutting up and tearing up and using in a new way. So I've been asked, what are you going to do with those? Well, I don't know. I'm kind of just winging it as I go. So here is another tea bag, and I think this might kind of look good there, maybe here. I don't know, I'm kind of liking it so far. This is a little bit thick, this piece that I did. So I add a little extra glue. And I still have this little piece here. Maybe I'll let's put it there. You see, then I still end up with little bits that I can use in another part of this. Let's see, I have this idea here. I think I want to put a little bit of, a little piece of tea bag right here. Yeah, I like that. And that edge was coming up a little bit, so that's perfect, a way to camouflage it. Yep, I like that. right, and then let's use a little bit of gesso here. Just kind of rub a little bit of that on. I wanted this little sketch to kind of appear, but I don't want it to be perfect. So I just used a baby wipe to kind of wipe that off. Wipe some of it off as I go. That gesso really helps that. So you're able to do it with the gesso. So I think that works good. And I think I'm going to do one more little bit of coffee just to finish this off. I'm going to try to not overthink this too much. I'm thinking I'm going to just put a little bit there. Yeah, I think that's good. And then, there we go. Spritz that a little. And let's see. This is my white pencil. Oops. Just putting some marks in here. I lifted up a little bit. That's still damp, so that's okay. It'll dry. Just put a little bit of glue there. Perfect. Okay, so now I utilized part of my day 2 of the 100-day project for this journal page. And what's kind of neat is I could even go in here if I wanted to kind of maybe do a 2-page spread. Like these papers here. I mean, I could somehow incorporate this into the page on the side if I wanted, but I'm not going to, but I just wanted to let you know there's a whole bunch of options, right? Okay, there we are. That is day 2 of the 100-day project and incorporating it into my Salvaged Journal as a whole new thing. All right, let me know if you have any questions. I hope you enjoy that.